Well, my friend, welcome back again to the Momentum series, the next episode in our series where we're saying, hey, 2017 has got to be an awesome year. 2017 has got to be the year where you step up, where you make things happen, where you turn around in October and say, yes, I did it. My name is Coach Phill here, and it's always a pleasure to come and discuss with you what are those things that we need to look at to make the difference that we need to make. What are those things that we need to be aware of? After 16 years of being in personal development, after 16 years of trying and studying and doing whatever it takes, you get to a stage where you pick the things that make a difference. When you talk to all the kinds of people that I speak with and talk to and engage with, you learn some of this stuff. So today, I want us to discuss one of the biggest problems, the biggest challenges you're going to find on your way to making 2017 a better year. Remember, we're now in March, okay? 2 months gone. March, you better begin to really review and say, hey, am I creating the momentum? Am I doing what I have to do? Am I, saying no to the things that don't matter? Am I moving? Am I creating the goods and services, the stuff that I needed to do? And if you're not, there's still an opportunity for you to what? To step up. And one of the reasons you might not be doing that is because of what we call the inner demons, what we call the inner villain. It has been said that the people who master the internal world are the people who master the external world. The inner demon is from the studies and from looking at psychology and what happens to people who are really making it happen, they have mastered their inner world, because the inner world reflects the outer world. So in this particular episode, I want to talk to you about that monster. We call it the three-headed monster inside of you that prevents you from creating the momentum, that prevents you from moving as fast as you should. And we will call this monster the inner villain, the one that is preventing us. And it has got 3 heads. You just imagine the biggest, baddest monster always fighting inside of you, and it has got 3 freaking bad heads which are preventing you from what? From moving. And those 3 ugly heads, we're going to name them the defiance heads. The defiance heads. These 3, we're going to categorize them and call them. Number 1 is the head of delay. Number 2, the head of doubt. Number 3, the head of division. Okay? These heads are what are keeping us and what are preventing a lot of us from doing what we have to do. A lot of people out there do not do what they have to do because of these particular 3 demons. And I want you to just be aware of them. You might be the kind of person who has conquered these heads and you're moving at a high pace, but you just become aware that, hey, that might have been that, or you could help somebody else. But I want us to discuss them and look at some ideas of how we can conquer them so we can what? Continue the momentum. Remember, the momentum series is about moving. It's about creating the momentum to get to where we need to get. Remember, 2017 has got to be epic, yes? So here we go. Let us discuss the first demon, the first villain on the inside. And that I want to start with the villain of doubt. Okay? This particular villain on the inside is what has prevented a lot of great men and a lot of great women from ever shining, from ever being who they were. This is one that has, taken control of a lot of good ideas, a lot of great ideas that people have heard, and they never ever get to express them. And then all of a sudden they see somebody doing it and they're like, oh my God, I wanted to do that. Why? They didn't do it because of doubt. These only produce small people. Doubt is what produces the people who never live up to their full potential. It causes stress. It is ever present. It is always there. You want to do something and then boom, the doubt falls up. Oh, maybe I can't. Maybe I don't have the ability. Maybe I don't have the tools. How many times have you wanted to do something and then all of a sudden you get doubtful? How many times have you thought of a great idea and then the doubt kicks in of, I don't have the money, I don't have the ideas, I don't have the knowledge, and then boom, before you know it, 2 years down the road, you see the idea, and you're like, damn, that was my idea. How many times have you wanted to do something or to start a business, and then you don't, and 20 years later, you're still wanting to start that business because of doubt? When is now a good time to say, you know what? I have become aware of you, villain. I know what you're about. I know what you're up to. And today is when I am going to say, hey, you know what? It is time to stop this doubt. It is time for me to do what I have to do, because you've heard, it is not the cowards who win the wars. It is the people who get out there, the brave people who believe regardless, who get out there and win the battle. It is, it is not in our excuses in life that we end up living the life that we ought to live. One of the things that I always ask, especially parents, hey, if you continue to be doubtful for the rest of your life, you're never going to do anything big. But remember that your children look at you as a role model. Remember, there are certain people in your family who look at you as a role model. What picture are you leaving for them? What do you want them to role model from you? Think about it. Doubt is just an opportunity to excuse yourself from doing what you have to do. The villain, the one that has taken over, is preventing you from mastering what you must master to do what you ought to do. So, to prevent the self-sabotage, to prevent you from not doing what you ought to do, just stop right now and say, okay, where have I been doubtful in my life? What have I doubted? If some of you know my story, some of you don't, but my first session, my first seminar ever had 3 people. Can you imagine the doubt I had after that in terms of my abilities, in terms of whether I was doing the right thing, in terms of whether I'd left behind a girlfriend and a family for this, whether it was going to work? Can you imagine? I would have missed the opportunity to share with you if I had allowed doubt then. So you got to sit down right now and say, hey, I hope you have your journals, by the way, and I hope every time that you're taking time to listen to it, at least you're taking some notes. I want you to ask, what are you doubtful of in your life right now? And this takes you to really go deep, because initially the little mind is going to give you some bullshit, excuse my language, and say, no, it's okay, you're just a perfectionist. By the way, perfectionist is just a stupid excuse for not doing what you ought to do. The people who go around, oh, I'm a perfectionist, I'm so sorry to burst your little bubble. It is not about perfectionism, it's about you not doing what you ought to do. There's never a perfect moment. There's never where things are going to be perfect, never. You just got to start. So, what are you doubtful of right now? And while you think about that question, I want you to think about your desires and what you're ready to do and because there'll never be a time where you're totally ready. Nah. There'll never be a time where you're like, yes, it is the perfect time. No, it is impossible. But what is that one thing you're doubtful of? Or what is it that is preventing you? Because remember, we set goals. We said we're going to do these things. We're creating momentum. But somewhere along the way, you're going to get a little bit doubtful. Can I do this? Can I go where I need to go? Can I see this person? Can I find the money? Just think about it and begin to become aware of it. Remember, a problem well stated is a problem half solved. So become aware of it and write it down and say, okay, I'm beginning to be doubtful of this. And I know you'll be asking, hey, how do you deal with doubt? In this particular session, we will just give you the biggest way to deal with doubt. And that is one word and one word alone. Before I tell you what it is, I just want you to think about all the greatest inventions in the world to date. All the things that you have achieved in your life to date. If you were doubtful, would you have? If there was doubt in the guys who started to create the aeroplane, in the guys who, in Edison, in the new Uber guys, do you think anything would happen in this world? No. Nothing would happen. What is that one thing that helps you to deal with doubt? One thing and one thing alone. It's faith. That's it. It's just to be a guy who has faith, a lady who has faith, to say, you know what? I am going to endure the sadness of whatever this doubt is bringing, but I know, I feel in my mind, and by the way, this is one of the greatest things I've ever learned from my good man, Brandon Burchard. One of the greatest things you can ever take into your system is to know and believe that you will figure things out. Is to have the faith that, you know what, if I don't know it now, I will figure it out. I have the belief that if anything is humanly possible, then it is possible for you. Now, without that belief, then it becomes hard for you to even live a good life. Why? Because you're not believing that you can get things done. Now, I'm saying to you, with the head of doubt, I'm saying just have faith in whatever you want to do and say, you know what? It will happen. I had faith from day one that I would get the opportunity to serve the world in better ways than ever. Why? In the service of others, we lose ourselves and we discover who we really are. Do you have the faith to keep going? It is March. Things might be getting tougher. There's more demands on your time. You have a lot going on. You've had a few failures here and there. Now is the time to be faithful, to say, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to do whatever it takes to learn something. You know, with faith, you just have to add one element, the element of time. Just be patient with yourself. You will figure it out. That is the way we're going to deal with doubt, because doubt has killed more men than you'll ever know. People are dead mentally, physically. They just walk around in a trance for 40 years until somebody does them a favor and puts them 6 feet under. You are better than that, because you are on the momentum series. So that is the #1 villain. The only way to kill it is get a sword, of a double-edged sword of faith and patience, and boom, there we go. Then we shall begin to move at the rate and level that we ought to do. Because what? Because we believe, because this is Momentum 2017, we ought to do what we have to do. The next villain, ladies and gentlemen, is the villain, the head, the big fat head of delay. How many of you have heard the saying, I'll do it someday. Hey, you know what? Next month I'll do it. Oh, hey, you know what? You know what? I'm just waiting for the right time. Oh no, I just need to do one more course, or I just need to do one more study, or I just need to find that one last coach, or I just need, you know, I had about 10 days ago, I had a client who I was speaking to, and this villain has gotten so big in their life, it's unbelievable. So I'm talking to my client, and there's so many things that this lady could have done in life. But because of the villain of delay, she's waiting for the right opportunity. She's waiting for the right person. She's waiting for the right kind of investment plan. She's, you know, there's so many things. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, delay has killed so many dreams. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Because guess what? Destiny belongs to those who act. Destiny belongs to those who do whatever they have to do. Destiny is you know, what you must do to deal with delay has got everything to do with you deciding that there's a bigger destiny, there's something much more important for you. Then, when you take action and deal with delay, the reward is success, your success in life. And you know, I know it's tough sometimes. You get stuck, and things might not be moving as fast as you want them to be moving. You might be that you're experiencing a few challenges right now. It's part of the journey. Your job is not to get stuck and start to feel sorry for yourself and begin to play that story in your head of, hey, you know what, you know, maybe it's not meant to happen. No, your job is to say, you know what, this is part of the journey. I am becoming aware of the excuse of delay. You know, I know I know a very close relative, and yes, some of my relatives are beginning to watch this stuff and coming back at me and I say, was that you? Was that me you were talking to? This close relative of mine has wanted to start a business for 25 freaking years. 25. I'm going to do it. It's going to be the best. I can't wait. I'm going to do it. It's going to be the best. I can't wait. She or he has been saying it so long that we've tuned out. Why? We don't want to hear it anymore. Why? It's an old record. It's done. In my opinion, it has killed this person's ability to live life. That even as a coach, sometimes I struggle, because everything that is in the graveyard is mainly about delay. Everything, every idea that never was activated was because of delay. Waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right time, waiting for the right idea. Hey, how about you become aware and say, you know what? It's time for me to do what I have to do. It's time for me to do what I have to do. How do you deal with delay? The only way to deal with delay is to take action, is to take unconditional action of even the smallest steps. You just decide, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something to begin to move. I'm going to do something to begin to get things to go. We are now in March. It's momentum. It is 2017. Come on. You got to get up and say, you know what? I can't wait for the perfect time. I can't wait for the perfect whatever. If it is a business, you got to start in your briefcase. Do something. Open up a company. If it is an idea, if it is a book, write 2 freaking sentences. Whatever it is, you got to start to deal with that particular demon. It is one of the it is the one that is responsible for a lot of dead dreams, a lot of people going to leave this world without never living purpose. Why? They're waiting for the right moment. I am saying to you that let us take some action. Let us do what we have to do so that we can create that momentum to make 2017 more epic. We will be dealing with this demon a little bit more, a little bit deeper in the Momentum Live coming up at the end of April. So just watch out for the dates because it's just going to be epic. There we go. Now next, ladies and gentlemen, the final big fat monster head. By the way to slay, to cut off that big fat ugly head of delay is to have your double sword. One side is action, the other side is unconditional. Just get it and go boom. End of story. Do something. Just do something today. In your journal, just write and say, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make that phone call. I'm going to go to the place and register the company. I'm going to call whoever it is. I'm just going to do something. Okay? Let's do this. Let's do this. Now, next, ladies and gentlemen, is the final one, and this is the big fat head of division. Yes, you heard me. Division. Division where you think you are different, where you think you're separate, where you have this aloofness of, hey, your ego flares up so much that you don't think, hey, you can do it with somebody else. You have a little bit of what we call antisocial venom, where you think, you know what, those guys don't understand me. I'm going to do this on my own. It doesn't matter. You're a little bit too judgmental. You're judgmental on your daughter. You're judgmental on your son. You're judgmental on everything that comes up. You have a negative opinion of it. And this is what is very, very, very deep about this particular villain. Most of it is a lie. It's stuff that has come from outside and has been deeply rooted in us, and we justify the story. We justify why we need to be like that. When you think you're more special, I want you to ask yourself a question. Do you think you're the first one in this world? And do you realize that we're all on the same journey? We're all on the same journey, on the same path. The villain of division will prevent you from moving faster on your dreams, from moving faster on what you need to do, simply because you're caught up with the wrong story. All of us are on the same journey. All of us want to do something for ourselves and for our lives. If you look at some of especially in my industry or in all other industries, the industries that are connecting with each other, the industries that are working together are making a bigger impact than anything or anybody else. If you think you're more special than everybody else, that villain is what is preventing you from moving faster. Why? You will not open yourself up to ideas. You will not open yourself up to people bring in some great stuff to input, to morale boost you, to give you the oomph that you need to go to the next level. And it's sad. It's so sad where you find people who could have been greater, but because of the division, because of thinking they're special, because of putting themselves on a pedestal and never reaching out. The new world is about reaching out. It's about being part of a big family. It's about doing things that you got to work with your different companies. You got to connect and find ways of doing things that amplify you and amplify other people. There's no other way to succeed unless you're working with other people. Now, this is much. If you've been caught up in your own little cocoon doing what you think is only for you, I'm asking you to open up a little bit. I'm asking you to get out, see who you can lift up and see who can lift you up. Get the ego out of the way and say, hey, This mission I'm on is more important than me. Therefore, I will do whatever it takes. I will take my little ego out of the way, open my heart up, and conditionally allow to learn so that I can attract the right things into my life to be able to get the results of my mission. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just a little bit more of love and intensity, of doing things deliberately. Things that allow you to unconditionally serve other people, unconditionally love. That is the only way you deal with the villain of division. One of the things that you're going to have to become very much aware of is, hey, every time I think that I'm special, if you're in my business, like for my business, I was talking to somebody earlier this morning, a wonderful lady. She came to me to talk about her book and how she can serve a bit more. And out of the blue, somehow the universe, God has a way of giving me ideas because she was struggling with something. All of a sudden, I said, your only problem is that you're putting yourself first instead of putting your clients first. Division. It's all about me. I. Hey, you're not that special. Well, you are actually, but for the purpose of your vision, for the purpose of your mission, allow yourself to open up and deliberately, that's an important one, deliberately love unconditionally. Allow yourself to say, you know what, alone I can go so far. Together we can conquer the world. Then you would have found a way to get rid of the inner villain, to get rid of that big monster that divides you from the rest of the world. It's amazing that the people who are working together with others are getting better results. They're connecting with the world better. They're serving even more because they are open to understanding that, hey, on my own I cannot. I cannot divide myself from the rest of the world. I have to be with the rest of the world. So there you are, my friend. The way to kill that big fat monster called division is to get a double-edged sword. One side, you got to have what? Say it. You got to have what? Love. The other side, you got to have unconditional love. Boom. Give yourself permission to love. Give yourself permission to get out and serve. You'll be surprised how you begin to break down all those barriers. And this is what will happen. All of a sudden, you will see yourself beginning to get things done, beginning to attract help, beginning to get the people who will serve, who will put fuel into your dream, and before you know it, boom, you're ready to go. So, as I summarize here, I want you to think about a couple of things when it comes to what we've just discussed, okay? In this Momentum series, we've spoken about how you got to deal with your internal demons, internal villains, to be able to allow you to get rid of the stuff that is preventing you from shooting off on your dream. It is much. You got to step up your game. You got to be moving. You got to begin to take notes of, hey, this is where I'm lying. This is where I'm getting a problem. And the three things that we've spoken about are, one, you got to deal with the inner demon of delay. Stop delaying. Stop giving the excuse. Deal with it. We got to go. We got to go. Next one is doubt. Okay? Doubt is what has killed many dreams. Okay? Now is the time to say, you know what? I have the ability to figure things out. If it is humanly possible, then it is possible for me. I will do this. And then finally, you got to deal with the inner villain of division. Just do what you have to do to open yourself up, get into networking, find people who can open yourself up to, by the way, be aware that every time you open yourself up to, you're going to get criticized. You're going to find, it is inevitable. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about, how the people you surround yourself with and how to deal with toxic people. Okay? Why? Because on your journey, you're going to have people who are going to come up who are toxic, who are not, who are not in line with where you want to go. They keep you back. They bring your spirit down. We're going to discuss that in the next one. But for now, you got to deal with those. And I just want to leave you with a couple of thoughts. One, there's my main man, he's called Samuel Bakutana. He has a saying which says, I will manage. Okay? And I want you to say it with me right now. I will manage. Come on, say it. I will manage. Write it down. I will manage. Because if you have faith and you have courage and love, you know you will manage, because that behavior, those particular things that we just spoke about, if you have faith, courage, and love, you will Find a grounding from which to do what you have to do to get to where you need to get. Have the courage every day to say, you know what? My journey, my vision, my dream is bigger than me. Therefore, I will do whatever it takes. Because if it is to be, then it is up to me. As usual, Coach Phill here. Whatever you do, live strong, live with passion, and have the audacity to live life on your terms. Until next week, be strong. See you on the next one.